A misdirected email lands struggling job seeker Bianca Alvarez in the inbox of tech billionaire Dominic Hale and sets off a chain of secrets, sabotage, and an impossible romance. But when love collides with power, who really holds the future? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The afternoon sun streamed through the dusty blinds of Bianca Alvarez's small apartment. At 27, she sat cross-legged on her worn couch, laptop balanced precariously. On her knees, surrounded by crumpled papers, her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun, and determination filled her eyes despite the fatigue etched on her face. "This has to work," she muttered, fingers flying across the keyboard. "One of these companies has to see me." 3 years of being overlooked, underpaid, and underappreciated had nearly crushed her spirit. But Bianca wasn't one to give up. She had promised her father she would make something of herself, and she intended to keep that promise. The wall clock ticked loudly, reminding her that she had been at this for hours. 12 job applications in one afternoon, a personal record. Each cover letter she wrote became more honest, more vulnerable than the last. When she reached the application for Ultracorp, one of the biggest tech companies in the country, Bianca paused. This was a long shot, but she had nothing to lose. "Fine," she said to the empty room. "They can just add their rejection to my collection." With renewed determination, she crafted a cover letter that came straight from her heart. "I've never been anyone's first choice, but I'm always the one who stays until the work is done." She reread it, surprised by her own honesty. It wasn't professional, but it was true. After attaching her resume, she quickly typed in the email address and hit send before she could change her mind. What Bianca didn't notice was the small typo in the address. Instead of careersultracorp.com, she had typed coultracorp.com. Dominic Hale sat in his penthouse office, the floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city that seemed small beneath him. At 31, he had built Ultracorp from nothing into a tech empire. His sharp features and penetrating gaze had graced magazine covers, and his name appeared regularly on lists of eligible bachelors. Not that he cared. Relationships were messy and distracting. Business was clean, predictable. "Mr. Hale, the board, cares waiting for your decision on the merger," his assistant reminded him through the intercom. Dominic rubbed his temples. "Tell them I'll have an answer tomorrow." He turned back to his computer, scrolling through emails. He never read unsolicited messages. His assistant filtered those out. But today, something caught his eye. A job application, mistakenly sent. Directly to him. He should delete it. He had a company to run, not resumes to review, but the subject line was different. Ready to work harder than anyone else. Curious, he opened it. The first line of the cover letter made something inside him freeze. "I've never been anyone's first choice, but I'm always the one who stays until the work is done." Dominic read it twice. There was something raw and honest about those words that struck a chord. He opened the attached resume. Bianca Alvarez, 27. Decent education, but nothing elite. Solid work history, but not impressive by his usual standards. But one line caught his attention. "Took a year off to care for my father during chemo." Without thinking, he clicked reply. "You sent this to the wrong place, but if you're free for dinner, I'd like to hear the rest of your story." He hit send before he could reconsider, surprising himself. He never did things like this. Never. Bianca was washing dishes when her phone chimed with an email notification. Probably another automatic response, she thought, drying her hands on a kitchen towel. When she saw the sender, Dominic Hale, CEO, her heart stopped. "No way," she whispered, reading the message again and again. "This has to be a joke." She quickly checked the email she'd sent and realized her mistake. Horror washed over her, followed by confusion. Why would the CEO of Ultracorp ask her to dinner after she'd bothered him with a misdirected email? It had to be a prank, or worse, some kind of setup. But curiosity gnawed at her. What if it was real? After an hour of debating with herself, she replied, "Thank you for the invitation. I'm available tomorrow evening." His response came within minutes with the name of a restaurant and a time. The next evening, Bianca stood outside Bellini's, a small Italian restaurant tucked away on a quiet street. It wasn't flashy or trendy, not what she expected from a billionaire. She smoothed down her thrifted blue dress, second-guessing her decision to come. Just as she was about to turn away, a sleek black car pulled up. Dominic Hale stepped out, tall and imposing in a tailored coat. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw clean-shaven. He looked exactly like the photos she'd seen online, but somehow more human up close. "Bianca?" he asked, his voice deeper than she'd imagined. She nodded, suddenly speechless. "Thank you for coming." He opened the restaurant door for her. "I hope you like Italian." Inside, the restaurant was warm and intimate. No photographers, no fawning staff, just a friendly older waiter who led them to a corner table. "I've been coming here for years," Dominic explained. "It's one of the few places where I can just be a normal person." Bianca found that hard to believe. There was nothing normal about him. His presence commanded attention even in this quiet setting. The conversation was stiff at first. Bianca kept waiting for him to explain why he'd really invited her, a job offer, some kind of bizarre test. "So," Dominic said after they ordered, "tell me about this line on your resume. You took a year off to care for your father." Bianca hadn't expected that question. Yes, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. There was no one else to take care of him. "And you put your life on hold." She shrugged. "He's my dad. He taught me everything important, that your word means something, that you show up for people who need you, that your worth isn't in what you own but in how you live." Her voice softened. "He's in remission now, thankfully." Dominic was quiet for a moment, studying her. "My parents died when I was 22. Car accident." "I'm sorry," Bianca said genuinely. "I was just starting UltraCorp. I thought if I could just build something successful enough, stable enough, I could protect the people I cared about." A shadow crossed his face. "I built an empire and lost everyone anyway." The honesty of his confession hung in the air between them. "Is that why you work so much?" Bianca asked. "The magazines always talk about how you never take vacations." Small smile touched his lips. "You've read about me?" "Everyone has. You're Dominic Hale." She matched his smile. "Though the articles never mentioned you invite random job applicants to dinner." "I don't," he admitted. "This is a first." "Why me?" she finally asked. Dominic considered her question. "Your cover letter. It was honest in a way I haven't encountered in a long time. In my world, everyone performs, everyone wants something. And I don't?" "Oh, you want something," he said. "A job. But you were honest about who you are. That's rare." When dinner ended, he walked her to her car, an old Honda, with chipping paint that looked wildly out of place next to his luxury vehicle. "Thank you for dinner," she said, fumbling with her keys. "Would you be open to doing this again?" he asked. "Just dinner. No strings, no job offers, just conversation." Bianca hesitated. This evening had been surreal, but also somehow comfortable. "Okay, but next time I pick the place." His smile was genuine, ideal. Their dinners became a weekly ritual. Every Thursday at 7, they would meet at a different restaurant, sometimes Bianca's choices, sometimes Dominic's. They talked about everything: books, movies, childhoods, dreams. Bianca told him about growing up with a single father who worked 2 jobs to give her opportunities. Dominic shared stories about building his company from his dorm room, the sleepless nights and countless failures before success. What they never discussed was UltraCorp, or job opportunities. True to his word, Dominic never offered her a position or used his influence to open doors for her. At first, Bianca was relieved. She didn't want to feel like a charity case. But as weeks passed and their connection deepened, a small part of her wondered if he didn't offer because he didn't think she was good enough. 2 months into their Thursday dinners, something changed. Dominic started opening up more, laughing easily. He walked her to her car and lingered, as if reluctant to say goodbye. Bianca found herself thinking about him between their meetings, wondering what he was doing, wishing she could text him about small moments in her day. "You're falling for him," her best friend Maria warned over coffee. "A guy who lives in a completely different world." "We're just friends," Bianca insisted, though she knew her feelings had grown beyond friendship. "Honey," Billionaire CEOs don't become just friends with regular women they meet through misdirected emails. There's something he wants. Maria's words planted a seed of doubt that Bianca couldn't quite shake. One morning, while scrolling through job listings, Bianca froze. There it was, a position at Ultracorp that seemed written specifically for her. Content Strategy Associate. Every required qualification matched her skills exactly. Even the preferred experience aligned with her background. Heart-pounding. She applied immediately, crafting a careful cover letter that made no mention of her connection to Dominic. She wanted to earn this on her merit. That Thursday at dinner, she didn't mention the application. Neither did Dominic. Days passed with no response from Ultracorp's HR department, then weeks. Bianca's hope faded. They're not going to call, she told herself as she got ready for their next dinner, and I'm not going to bring it up. But when Dominic arrived at the restaurant, something was different. He seemed distracted, checking his phone repeatedly. "Cam, everything okay?" she asked. "Just some company matters," he said, putting his phone away. "How was your week?" Bianca tried to focus on the conversation, but the unmentioned job application hung between them like a ghost. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. "I applied for a job at Ultracorp," she blurted out. "The content strategy position. It seemed perfect for me." Dominic's expression gave nothing away. "I see. I didn't hear anything back," she continued. "Not even a rejection." "Hiring processes take time," he said neutrally. Bianca felt a surge of disappointment, then anger. "You knew, didn't you? You probably get reports on all the applicants." He didn't deny it. "Why didn't you say anything?" she demanded. "If you don't think I'm qualified, just tell me. Don't string me along with these dinners making me think you respect me when clearly—" "Bianca," he interrupted, his voice low. "It's complicated." "It's really not," she said, gathering her purse. "I never asked for special treatment. I just wanted a fair chance. But if you only saw me as someone to talk to, not someone to believe in, then thank you for the dinners. I'll feed myself from now on." She walked out, ignoring him calling her name. For a week, Bianca heard nothing from Dominic. No calls, no texts, no emails. She threw herself into job hunting, trying to ignore the ache in her chest. Then came a rainy Friday evening. She was in her pajamas, watching an old movie, when a knock sounded at her door. Puzzled, she peeked through the peephole and gasped. Dominic stood in the hallway of her modest apartment building. No security, no driver, just him, soaking wet from the rain, holding a folder. She opened the door but blocked the entrance. "What are you doing here?" Without a word, he opened the folder and handed her a paper, an offer letter from Ultracorp. But her name was crossed out, in its place written in bold handwriting. "Bianca Alvarez, partner, build something with me, not because I can give it to you, but because you earned it, and I see no one else I want beside me." Bianca stared at the paper, then at Dominic. His usually perfect hair was plastered to his forehead, his expensive coat dripping onto the hallway carpet. "I don't understand," she whispered. "The job posting," he explained, his voice hoarse. "I created it for you. But then the board found out about our dinners, and they accused me of favoritism. They blocked the hire. So you're offering me partnership? In Ultracorp?" "In a new division," he clarified. "Content strategy and community development. You'd build it from the ground up, equal partners." Bianca's mind raced. This was more than she'd ever dreamed possible. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you risk your reputation on me?" Dominic stepped closer. "Because in all my years of building this company, I've never met anyone who made me want to build something together. Until you." The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken feelings. "I need to think about this," she said finally. He nodded, understanding. "Take all the time you need." As he turned to leave, Bianca stopped him. "Wait." She grabbed a napkin from her coffee table and scribbled something on it. She handed it to him, a small smile playing on her lips. Dominic read the single line. "I won't be your mistake. I'll be your miracle." For the first time since she'd known him, his eyes were completely unguarded, vulnerable. The powerful CEO was gone, replaced by just a man, standing before her with hope in his eyes. "Then let's get to work," he said softly. "What?" neither of them knew was that across town, in the gleaming tower of Ultracorp, the board of directors was holding an emergency meeting. On the agenda, the removal of Dominic Hale as CEO. The real fight for his company, for their future, for a chance at happiness, was just beginning. 3 days after Dominic's unexpected visit, Bianca still hadn't given him an answer. The offer letter sat on her kitchen counter, a constant reminder of the decision she needed to make. "It's crazy, right?" she asked Maria over coffee at their favorite diner. "I can't just become a partner at Ultracorp." Maria stirred her coffee thoughtfully. "Why not? You're smart, you know content, and, let's be honest, the man is clearly interested in more than just your business skills." "That's what worries me," Bianca admitted. "What if this is just his way of keeping me close? What happens when he loses interest?" "Girl, you're overthinking this. Most people would kill for this opportunity," Bianca sighed. "I know, but I want to earn my place, not get it because some rich guy likes me." Her phone buzzed with a text from Dominic. "No pressure, but there's something I need to show you. Can I pick you up at 7? After a moment's hesitation, she texted back, "Okay." That evening, Dominic arrived in a different car. Not the sleek luxury vehicle she was used to, but a modest sedan. "Going incognito?" Bianca asked as she slid into the passenger seat. "Something like that." His smile seemed forced. "I wanted to show you the office space I was thinking about for our project." "Our project." The words sent a flutter through her chest. They drove to a renovated warehouse district where old industrial buildings had been transformed into modern offices. Dominic parked and led her to a building with large windows and exposed brick. "This whole floor," he said, unlocking the door. "It's separate from the main Ultracorp campus." Inside, the space was empty and echoing. Polished concrete floors, high ceilings with hanging lights, and walls of windows overlooking the city. "It's beautiful," Bianca admitted, her footsteps echoing as she explored. "I thought we could build something new here," Dominic said, watching her. "Away from corporate politics and boardrooms, something authentic." Bianca turned to face him. "Why me, Dominic? Really? You could hire anyone in the world." He stepped closer. "Because you're real. Because when you talk about connecting with people, your eyes light up. Because you stayed with your father when he was sick instead of chasing promotions." His voice softened. "Because when I'm with you, I remember why I started this company, in the first place. Not just to make money, but to make a difference." The sincerity in his eyes made her breath catch. "There's something else you should know," he said, his expression changing. "The board called an emergency meeting yesterday. They're not happy about my plans for this new division." "Because of me?" "Partly. They think I'm distracted, making emotional decisions." He ran a hand through his hair. "They're trying to push me out, Bianca." "What?" "But it's your company. I own the majority of shares, but the board has certain powers. They're looking for any excuse." He gave a bitter laugh. "Dating a job applicant gives them ammunition." Bianca felt a chill. "Dating? Is that what we're doing?" Dominic held her gaze. "I'd like to be, but I understand if you don't want to get caught in this mess." Bianca walked to the window, taking in the view of the city lights coming on as dusk fell. This was all happening so fast. The partnership offer, Dominic's confession, now talk of dating and corporate takeovers. "I need to know something," she said finally. "If there was no job, no partnership, no Ultracorp, would you still want to see me?" Dominic joined her at the window. "I'd find you in every possible world, Bianca Alvarez." She turned to him, heart pounding. "Then yes, to all of it. The partnership, the dating. But I want to do this right. No shortcuts, no special treatment. I need to prove myself." Relief washed over his face. He reached for her hand, and when their fingers intertwined, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. "We'll build something." "Amazing," he promised. The headline in the business section the next morning read, "Trouble at Ultracorp? CEO Dominic Hale challenged by board." Victor Reynolds, Ultracorp's chief financial officer, tossed the newspaper onto his desk with a satisfied smile. At 45, Victor had been with the company since before it went public. He'd watched Dominic build his empire with a mixture of admiration and resentment. "Have you seen this?" asked Diana Chen, head of marketing and Victor's closest ally on the board. She was scrolling through her tablet, showing him photos of Dominic and Bianca entering the warehouse building the night before. "Who is she?" Victor asked, squinting at the image. "Some nobody who applied for a job. Word is Dominic wants to make her a partner in a new division." Victor scoffed. He's finally lost it. All that genius, and he's throwing it away on a pretty face. "We need 3 more board members on our side to force a vote of no confidence," Diana reminded him. "Jenkins and Martinez are in. We need Goldstein." "Leave." "Goldstein to me," Victor said, reaching for his phone. Bianca woke to a text from Dominic. "Check your email. Don't believe everything you read in the papers." She found dozens of news alerts about Ultracorp and Dominic. The stories painted him as a CEO on the verge of being ousted, making reckless decisions. Several mentioned a mystery woman seen with him. Her stomach churned as she realized she was now part of this story. Her email contained a contract from Dominic, the partnership agreement, tailored exactly as he'd promised. Equal partners in the new division, with clear performance metrics and no special provisions. A second email caught her attention, a calendar invitation for a board meeting that afternoon at Ultracorp headquarters. "You want me there?" she texted Dominic. "Only if you're ready," came his reply. "It's time they met my new partner." Bianca spent the morning preparing, researching Ultracorp's board members and studying the company's latest projects. If she was going to face these people, she needed to be ready. At noon, Dominic picked her up. He looked tired but determined, his usual perfect appearance slightly rumpled. "Bad night?" she asked. "Just a lot of phone calls." He gave her a quick smile. "How are you feeling?" "Terrified," she admitted. "But I've faced worse." He squeezed her hand. "You'll be amazing." Ultracorp headquarters was a gleaming glass tower, downtown. Employees stared as Dominic led Bianca through the lobby. In the elevator, he briefed her. "The board is divided. Victor Reynolds leads the opposition. He's been with me from the start, but always thought he should be running things. Diana Chen is with him. Be careful around them." When the elevator doors opened on the executive floor, Dominic's assistant was waiting, her expression anxious. "They're all here," she told Dominic. "And they've invited the press for after the meeting." Dominic's jaw tightened. "They're making a spectacle of this. We can turn around," Bianca offered. "Maybe this is too soon." He shook his head. "No, this is exactly what we need to do." He took her hand. "Ready to shake things up?" The boardroom fell silent when they entered. 12 people sat around a massive table, expressions ranging from curious to openly hostile. At the far end sat Victor Reynolds, his silver hair and sharp suit radiating authority. "Dominic," he said coolly, "we weren't expecting guests." "This is Bianca Alvarez," Dominic announced. "My new partner in the Content Strategy and Community Development Division." Murmurs erupted around the table. "We haven't approved any new division," said Diana Chen, a striking woman in her 40s. "I don't need board approval for new divisions." "Under the current budget threshold," Dominic countered. "It's in the bylaws you all signed." "Perhaps we should discuss this privately," suggested an older man Bianca recognized as Harold Goldstein, one of the early investors. "I have nothing to hide from Ms. Alvarez," Dominic said firmly. Victor leaned forward. "Then let's be direct. We're concerned about your leadership, Dominic. The company stock is down 12% since last quarter. The new software platform is behind schedule, and now you're creating vanity projects for personal reasons." Bianca felt her cheeks burn but kept her expression neutral. "May I speak?" she asked, surprising herself with her steady voice. Victor looked annoyed, but Dominic nodded. "Mr. Reynolds, I understand your concerns," Bianca began. "From the outside, this might look impulsive, but I'd like to present what the new division could bring to Ultracorp." She hadn't planned this, but years of pitching ideas to skeptical bosses kicked in. She outlined her vision for connecting Ultracorp's technical brilliance with real human needs, speaking clearly and directly. "Your products are innovative, but your community engagement is practically non-existent," she pointed out. "You're missing opportunities to build loyalty and gather valuable feedback." As she spoke, she noticed several board members nodding. Even Harold Goldstein seemed interested. When she finished, the room was quiet. "That's all very nice," Victor said dismissively, But we're here to discuss Dominic's leadership, not marketing fantasies. Actually, Harold said, I found Ms. Alvarez's ideas quite compelling. Perhaps we're being hasty in our judgment. Victor's expression darkened. The board was prepared to vote today on whether to retain Dominic as CEO. I move we proceed with that vote. Second, Diana said quickly. Dominic remained calm. I welcome the vote, but first I'd like to address the allegations against me. For the next hour he methodically responded to each concern, presenting data and plans. Bianca watched him in admiration. This was Dominic in his element. Confident, strategic, brilliant. When the vote came, it was 6-6, a tie. According to the bylaws, Dominic said, a tie means no action is taken. I remain CEO. He stood. Now I believe there's press waiting. Shall we tell them the board is united behind me, or do you prefer to air our dirty laundry in public? Victor's face was stone. This isn't over. I'm counting on it, Dominic replied. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Dominic stepped forward, Bianca slightly behind him. Ultracorp is stronger than ever, he announced. The board and I are aligned on our vision for the future, which includes expanding into new markets. I'm pleased to introduce Bianca Alvarez, who will be leading our new content strategy and community development division. Cameras flashed. Bianca smiled, feeling both terrified and exhilarated. Afterward, in the privacy of his office, Dominic sagged into his chair. That was too close, he admitted. Bianca perched on the edge of his desk. You were amazing in there. We both were. He reached for her hand. But Victor won't stop. This is just the beginning. Then we'd better get to work, she said. I have. Her division to build and you have a company to run. He smiled up at her. I was right about you from the start. What do you mean? Your cover letter. How you're never anyone's first choice, but you're always the one who stays until the work is done. He squeezed her hand. You're my first choice, Bianca, and I'm staying right here with you. The moment was interrupted by a knock. Dominic's assistant entered, looking uncomfortable. Mr. Hale, there's a man in reception asking for Ms. Alvarez. He says he's her father. Bianca froze. My dad, he's here? He saw the press conference on TV, the assistant explained. Bianca and Dominic exchanged a look. I should go down, she said. I'll come with you. In the lobby, Robert Alvarez stood awkwardly in his worn jacket, looking out of place among the sleek furnishings. At 60, his once strong frame was thinner after his battle with cancer, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Dad, Bianca hurried to him. What are you doing here? I turn on the TV and see my daughter standing next to Dominic Hale, and you ask why I'm here? Robert looked past her to Dominic. So you're the billionaire who's hired my daughter. It's an honor to meet you, sir, Dominic said, extending his hand. Your daughter has told me a lot about you. Robert shook his hand warily. Funny, she hasn't mentioned you at all. Dad, please, Bianca said. It all happened very fast. Too fast, if you ask me. Robert's protective instinct was in full force. What exactly is going on here, Bianca? She explained about the misdirected email, the dinners, and finally the partnership offer. Robert listened, his expression skeptical. When she finished, he turned to Dominic. And what do you want from my daughter, Mr. Hale? The directness of the question seemed to catch Dominic off guard. I want to build something meaningful with her, sir, something that matters. Just business, Robert pressed. Dominic glanced at Bianca, then met Robert's gaze squarely. No, sir, not just business, Robert nodded slowly. At least you're honest. He turned to Bianca. Your mother fell for a smooth talker too, you know. But she was younger than you, and I was no billionaire. Dad, I'm not saying no, Bianca. I'm saying be careful. Make sure he deserves you. Why don't you join us for dinner, Mr. Alvarez? Dominic suggested. I'd like to hear more about Bianca growing up. To Bianca's surprise, her father agreed. Dinner was at Dominic's penthouse, a space so luxurious it made Bianca uncomfortable, but her father seemed unfazed. Nice view, he commented, looking out at the city. But a bit lonely up here, isn't it? Dominic nodded. It has been. Throughout dinner, Robert asked direct questions about Dominic's intentions, his company, his past. Dominic answered honestly, eventually earning a grudging respect from the older man. When Robert excused himself to the restroom, Bianca whispered to Dominic, "I'm so sorry about this." "Don't be," he replied. "Your father loves you. That's more precious than anything in this apartment." Later, as they said goodbye in the hallway, Robert pulled Bianca aside. "He's different than I expected," he admitted. "Less entitled." "So you approve?" "I approve of you knowing your worth," he said. "Don't let him or anyone make you forget it." She hugged him tight. "I won't, Dad." In the weeks that followed, Bianca threw herself into building her new division. She hired a small team, developed strategies, and began partnering with Ultracorp's product designers. Dominic gave her space to work, but was always available when she needed guidance. Their professional relationship developed alongside their personal one. Dinners continued, but now they included long discussions about work, dreams for the division, and plans for the future. "You're good at this," Dominic told her one evening, as they reviewed her first quarterly projections. "The team respects you, because I work harder than anyone," she said with a smile. Their first kiss happened naturally after a particularly successful presentation to potential partners. In the empty conference room, buzzing with excitement about the positive response, Dominic had pulled her close. "I've wanted to do this since our first dinner," he admitted afterward. Bianca felt herself falling deeper, even as a small voice warned her about the differences in their worlds. She still kept her apartment, though. She spent more nights at Dominic's penthouse. She insisted on paying her own way when possible, and made it clear that her position at Ultracorp was separate from their relationship. "You're the most stubborn woman I've ever met," Dominic complained good-naturedly when she refused to let him upgrade her car. "That's why you like me," she teased. "That's why I love you," he corrected, the words slipping out naturally. Bianca froze. They hadn't said those words yet. Dominic looked equally surprised, but didn't take it back. "I do, you know. Love you." She kissed him in response, her heart too full for words. 6 months after Bianca joined Ultracorp, her division was exceeding all expectations. User engagement was up, and product feedback had improved the latest software release. But behind the scenes, Victor Reynolds was still plotting. He had been unusually quiet since the tied vote, which made Dominic uneasy. "He's planning something," Dominic told Bianca late one night as they lay in bed. "I can feel it." "You're paranoid," she murmured sleepily. "With good reason. Victor doesn't give up easily." The next morning, Dominic was called to an unexpected meeting with Harold Goldstein. He returned to Bianca's office looking grim. "What happened?" she asked, alarmed by his expression. "Victor found a loophole in our corporate structure. He's arranged for a shareholder vote to create a new executive position, Chief Operating Officer, with authority equal to mine." "Can he do that?" "With enough shareholder support, yes. And guess who he's proposing for the role?" "Himself," Bianca guessed. Dominic nodded. "The vote is in 3 weeks. If he wins, we'll essentially be co-CEOs. He'll have the power to block any decision I make, including my division, especially your division." Dominic paced the office. "Victor sees you as my weakness, Bianca. He'll use that against us both. What can we do?" "Fight," Dominic said simply. "I need to convince key shareholders to vote against the proposal. It's going to be close." Over the next 2 weeks, Dominic worked tirelessly, meeting with shareholders and board members. Bianca focused on making her division indispensable, gathering testimonials from clients and partners. The stress began to show. Dominic was distant, often working late into the night. Bianca worried that their relationship was becoming collateral damage in this corporate war. "Maybe we should take a step back," she suggested one evening when Dominic cancelled their dinner plans again. "Focus on saving the company first." "That's exactly what Victor wants," Dominic argued. "To separate us, weaken us. I'm not talking about breaking up, just creating some space until this is resolved." Hurt flashed across his face. "You think I can't handle both, the company and us? I think we're both exhausted and stressed, and I don't want our relationship to become another battlefield." He pulled her into his arms. "You're the reason I'm fighting so hard, Bianca. Without you, none of this matters as much." She wanted to believe him, but doubt had crept in. Was she really an equal partner, or just the woman who had captured Dominic Hale's attention? 2 days before the shareholder vote, Bianca received an email from an anonymous account. The subject line read, "What Dominic Hale really thinks of you." She should have deleted it. Instead, curiosity got the better of her. Inside was an audio file. With trembling fingers, she pressed play. "Using this Alvarez woman as a distraction," Victor's voice said. "The shareholders need to know what's really going on." Then Dominic's voice. "Bianca is not your concern, Victor." She went from sending a misdirected email to running a division in 6 months. "You expect anyone to believe that's based on merit? Be careful," Dominic warned. "Just tell me this isn't some midlife crisis, Dominic. Tell me you haven't given this woman real power in the company just because you're sleeping with her." A pause. Then Dominic's voice, tired and irritated. "What do you want me to say? That it's complicated? Fine, it's complicated." The recording ended. Bianca sat frozen, tears welling in her eyes. "Complicated. Not Victor, you're wrong. Not Bianca earned her position. Just complicated." She tried to rationalize it. The recording was clearly edited, taken out of context. But the doubt that had been lurking in her mind blossomed into full-blown insecurity. When Dominic called that evening, she let it go to voicemail. Then she packed an overnight bag and went to stay with Maria. "You need to talk to him," Maria urged after hearing the story. "This is obviously Victor trying to sabotage you both before the vote." "I know," Bianca admitted. "But what if there's some truth to it? What if Dominic does see me as a complication? Then he's an idiot and you're better off knowing now." Bianca couldn't sleep that night, torn between her pride and her love for Dominic. By morning, she had made a decision. She went to the office early, avoiding the executive floor where she might run into Dominic. Instead, she focused on preparing for her department's presentation later that day, a showcase of their first 6 months' achievements. At noon, her phone buzzed with a text from Dominic. "Where are you? We need to talk." She replied simply, "Busy. With presentation prep, see you there." The boardroom was packed for the presentation, board members, executives, and key team members. Dominic sat at the head of the table, his eyes finding hers immediately, questioning. Bianca began her presentation confidently, showcasing the division's successes with clear data and compelling user stories. But halfway through, Victor interrupted. "This is all very impressive, Ms. Alvarez," he said with a cold smile. "But I wonder if the board is aware of how this division was really created." Diana Chen passed folders to each board member. "We've prepared a detailed timeline of Ms. Alvarez's rapid advancement." Dominic stood. "This is inappropriate and not on the agenda. The shareholders deserve to know the truth before tomorrow's vote," Victor insisted. "About personal relationships influencing business decisions." Bianca felt all eyes on her. This was the moment of truth. The boardroom fell silent. All eyes on Bianca. Her heart pounded in her chest as she faced Victor's accusation. "You're right, Mr. Reynolds," she said, surprising everyone. "My relationship with Dominic did impact how I got here. I wouldn't be standing in this room if I hadn't accidentally sent my resume to the wrong email address." She took a deep breath and continued. "But everything I've accomplished since then, the strategies we've implemented, the team we've built, the results we've delivered, that's all been earned through hard work and dedication." Bianca turned the page in her presentation. "Which brings me to our quarterly results. User engagement is up 48%. Customer retention has improved by 22%. And our new community feedback program has identified 17 critical product improvements that the development team has already implemented." She looked directly at Victor. "These numbers have nothing to do with who I'm dating. They have everything to do with giving customers what they actually want, a voice in the products they use every day." Harold Goldstein leaned forward. "I must say, regardless of how Ms. Alvarez joined the company, these results are impressive." Bianca finished her presentation with confident determination. When she concluded, several board members applauded. Dominic stood. "Thank you, Bianca. If there are no further questions, I believe we should move on to other business." "Actually," Diana Chen interjected, "I think we should discuss tomorrow's shareholder vote. Victor has prepared some materials. That's not on today's agenda, Dominic said firmly. This meeting is adjourned. As people filed out, Dominic caught Bianca's arm. We need to talk, now. In his office, he closed the door and turned to her. You've been avoiding me. Why? I got an interesting email yesterday, she said, pulling out her phone. Listen to this. She played the recording. Dominic's expression darkened as he listened. That's edited, he said immediately. Victor and I did have that conversation, but they cut out everything else I said. I defended you, Bianca. I told him you were the most qualified person I'd ever hired. Then why didn't you call me after this was sent? You must have known Victor would try something like this. I didn't know about the recording, Dominic admitted. But I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Why didn't you answer my calls? Because I needed time to think, she said. Everything happened so fast between us. Sometimes I wonder if you see me as an equal partner or just a complication. Dominic stepped closer. Is that what you think? That after everything we've shared, everything we've built together, I see you as a complication? I don't know what to think anymore. She turned away. The vote is tomorrow. Maybe we should focus on that first. No. He gently turned her to face him. This is more important. Bianca, I love you. I believed in you from the first day we met. Not because of some misdirected email, but because I saw someone extraordinary. Someone real in a world of pretenders. His intensity made her breath catch. I love you too, she whispered. But I'm scared, Dominic. Scared that we're too different, that your world will never truly accept me. My world? He laughed softly. Before you, I didn't have a world. I had a company, an apartment, investments, but no real life. He took her hands in his. You gave me that. A reason to leave the office, to laugh, to think about something besides the next deal or acquisition. His sincerity broke through her doubts. She leaned into him and he wrapped his arms around her. We'll win tomorrow, he promised. Together. The morning of the shareholder vote, Bianca woke in Dominic's bed, his arm draped protectively around her. For a moment, she let herself believe that everything would be okay, that they could overcome Victor's schemes and build the future they'd been planning. Dominic was already on the phone when she emerged from the shower, his expression serious, as he paced the bedroom. What is it? She asked when he hung up. Jenkins has flipped, he said grimly. He's supporting Victor's proposal. But he was on our side yesterday. Victor must have made him a better offer. Dominic ran a hand through his hair. This is bad. Bianca, without Jenkins, the vote is going to be extremely close. She sat beside him on the bed. What can I do? Come with me today. Show the shareholders what we're building together. Remind them why UltraCorp needs to stay on this path. The shareholder meeting was held in a downtown hotel ballroom. Hundreds of people filled the room, investors large and small, board members, key executives and press. Victor Reynolds stood near the entrance, greeting people with handshakes and confident smiles. When he spotted Dominic and Bianca, his smile turned cold. The power couple arrives, he said smoothly. Enjoying your last day of unchecked authority, Dominic? Don't count your votes before they're cast, Victor, Dominic replied. Inside, Bianca squeezed Dominic's hand reassuringly before they separated. She took a seat in the front row while he joined the other executives on stage. The meeting began with standard business, financial reports, updates on major projects, and a review of the past year's performance. Then came the main event. We now move to the special resolution, announced the chairperson. Proposal to create the position of Chief Operating Officer with co-equal authority to the CEO. Victor Reynolds will present the proposal. Victor took the podium, every inch, the confident executive in his tailored suit. Fellow shareholders, UltraCorp stands at a crossroads. Under Dominic Hale's leadership, our company has achieved remarkable things. But in recent months, we've seen concerning developments, distracted leadership, questionable personnel decisions, and declining stock performance. He presented charts showing the company's recent stock struggles. This proposal isn't about replacing Dominic Hale. It's about strengthening our management structure with experienced leadership to complement his vision. He glanced meaningfully at Bianca. and to ensure that business decisions are made for business reasons. When Victor finished, Dominic approached the podium. Victor Reynolds has been a valued part of Ultracorp for many years. But this proposal isn't about strengthening our company, it's about dividing it. Dominic looked out at the shareholders. You invested in Ultracorp because you believed in my vision. That vision is evolving, growing. The content strategy division that Victor criticizes has delivered exceptional results in just 6 months. He displayed Bianca's presentation slides from the day before. This is innovation. This is growth. This is the future of Ultracorp. The room was silent as Dominic continued. I understand concerns about recent stock performance, but true leadership isn't about quarterly fluctuations. It's about building lasting value. Creating a divided leadership will paralyze our ability to move quickly in a competitive market. As the debate continued, Bianca noticed an older woman sitting beside her, studying her intently. You're the one who's causing all this fuss, the woman said with a hint of amusement. Bianca turned, surprised. I'm sorry, I don't... Eleanor Hale, the woman introduced herself. Dominic's aunt. Bianca's eyes widened. Dominic had mentioned his aunt, his only living relative, who rarely involved herself in company matters. It's a pleasure to meet you. Mrs. Hale, Bianca said, extending her hand. Eleanor took it firmly. I've been watching you, Ms. Alvarez. Not many people stand up to Victor Reynolds the way you did yesterday. I was impressed. You were there. I make it a point to know what's happening in my nephew's company, Eleanor explained, even when he thinks I'm not paying attention. Before Bianca could respond, the chairperson called for the vote. Shareholders raised their electronic voting devices, and a tense silence fell over the room as the results were tabulated. After what felt like an eternity, the chairperson announced, the proposal is defeated by a margin of 3%. Relief washed over Bianca. Dominic's face broke into a rare public smile. Across the room, Victor's expression hardened into stone. Eleanor patted Bianca's hand. You should know, dear, that I control 6% of Ultracorp shares. I've never voted against my nephew before today. Bianca frowned in confusion. But the proposal was defeated. Yes, because I voted against creating the COO position, Eleanor clarified. But I also submitted my own proposal, one that will be announced momentarily. As if on cue, the chairperson spoke again. We have one additional item of business, a proposal from shareholder Eleanor Hale. Dominic looked as surprised as everyone else. My proposal is simple, Eleanor said, rising to her feet. I move that the board appoint an independent committee to review all executive decisions made in the past 6 months, with particular attention to the creation of new divisions and hiring practices. Murmurs swept through the room. Victor's expression shifted from defeat to calculating interest. The purpose, Eleanor continued, is not to undermine leadership, but to ensure transparency and proper governance. If everything is as above board as my nephew claims, he should welcome this review. The proposal was seconded and quickly approved by a large majority. Dominic's face was unreadable as he nodded acceptance. After the meeting adjourned, he found Bianca and Eleanor talking in the lobby. Aunt Eleanor, he said, kissing her cheek, I didn't know you were coming today. Clearly, she replied with a wry smile. We need to talk, Dominic, all 3 of us. In a private meeting room, Eleanor got straight to the point. I like you, Ms. Alvarez. You have spirit and intelligence. But the fact remains that your relationship with my nephew has created a significant conflict of interest. Aunt Eleanor, Dominic began. Let me finish, she interrupted. Victor Reynolds is a snake, but he's not entirely wrong. The appearance of impropriety can be as damaging as impropriety itself. Bianca nodded. I understand, Mrs. Hale. What do you suggest? The review committee will investigate how your division was created, your qualifications, and the decision-making process. If they find everything in order, it will silence the critics. If not, she let the implication hang. They will find everything in order, Dominic insisted. For both your sakes, I hope so. Eleanor gathered her purse. One more thing. I suggest you keep your relationship more private until this is resolved. The press is having a field day with Dominic Hale's mystery woman. After Eleanor left, Dominic pulled Bianca into his arms. I'm sorry about this, but we won the vote. Victor can't take control. For now, Bianca said. But your aunt is right. Our relationship complicates everything. I don't care, Dominic said fiercely. We'll face the review committee together. I have nothing to hide. Over the next few weeks, the review committee conducted its investigation. They interviewed Bianca extensively about her background, qualifications, and how she came to Ultracorp. They scrutinized the creation of her division, the budget allocations, and the reporting structure. Throughout the process, Bianca and Dominic maintained their professional distance at work while continuing their relationship privately. It was a delicate balance, one that strained them both. How much longer will this review take? Bianca asked one evening as they ate dinner in her apartment. A few more weeks, Dominic said. They're being thorough, which is good. When they clear us, it will be definitive. And if they don't clear us? The question had been weighing on. Dominic put down his fork. Bianca, I've reviewed everything. We did nothing wrong. You are qualified for your position. The division is performing exceptionally well. The only unusual thing was how we met, which is exactly what Victor is focusing on, she pointed out. Victor is licking his wounds after losing the vote. He won't give up, but he's being more cautious now. Bianca pushed her food around her plate. Sometimes I wonder if it would be better for everyone if I just resigned. No, Dominic said emphatically. That's exactly what Victor wants. If you leave, it looks like an admission of guilt. But your company is stronger with you in it. He reached across the table for her hand. Don't you see, this was never about your qualifications, it's about control. Victor wants to control Ultracorp, and he'll use any weapon he can find, including our relationship. So what do? We keep going, building your division, proving its value. And when the review committee clears us, we move forward, together, stronger than before. His confidence reassured her, but a nagging doubt remained. What if their love was hurting the company he'd worked so hard to build? 2 days later, Bianca was working late in her office when Diana Chen appeared in her doorway. Do you have a minute? Diana asked, her usual sharpness softened. Surprised, Bianca nodded. Of course. Diana closed the door and sat across from her. I want to apologize for my role in Victor's campaign against you. It wasn't personal. Bianca's skepticism must have shown on her face. I know you don't believe me, Diana continued, but I've been watching your work. The content strategy initiatives are impressive. You clearly know what you're doing. Thank you, Bianca said cautiously. But why are you telling me this now? Diana hesitated. Because I think you should know that Victor is planning something. The review committee is almost finished, and their preliminary findings are favorable to you. That's good news, isn't it? For you, yes. For Victor, it's a problem. He's convinced that if you stay, his influence over Dominic will continue to diminish. Bianca studied Diana's face, trying to determine her motives. Why are you telling me this? Aren't you and Victor allies? We were, Diana admitted, but I'm starting to question his methods. And his motivations. She stood to leave. Just be careful. Victor doesn't give up easily. After Diana left, Bianca called Dominic and relayed the conversation. It could be a trap, he warned. Diana has been Victor's strongest supporter on the board. I don't think so, Bianca said. She seemed genuinely concerned. Either way, we should be extra vigilant. I'll ask security to increase patrols at the warehouse office. The next morning, Bianca arrived at the warehouse space to find police cars outside the building. Her heart raced as she parked and rushed toward the entrance. What's happening? She asked a security guard. Break-in overnight, he explained. Someone accessed the main server room. Inside, Dominic was already there, talking with police officers. When he saw her, relief washed over his face. Are you okay? He asked, pulling her aside. I just got here, she said. What happened? Someone broke into the server room and accessed our systems. They were after the division's files, your projects, your strategies, everything. Bianca felt cold. Was anything taken? They copied files, but we don't know which ones yet. The police are still investigating. Throughout the morning, Bianca worked with the IT security team to determine what had been compromised. By afternoon, they had their answer. Someone had downloaded all of the Content Strategy Division's marketing plans, user research, and upcoming product integration proposals. "This is corporate espionage," Dominic said grimly when they reviewed the findings. "Someone wants to steal what we're building." "Victor," Bianca suggested. "Maybe, or a competitor. Either way, it's a serious breach." That evening, news of the break-in hit the business press. Speculation ran wild about who might have targeted Ultracorp and why. As Bianca and Dominic discussed the situation in his penthouse, his phone rang. It was Harold Goldstein. "Turn on Channel 8, Harold said without preamble. "You need to see this." They switched on the TV to find Victor Reynolds being interviewed on a business news program. "Concerned about security protocols at Ultracorp," Victor was saying. "This breach highlights the risks of decentralized operations away from our main campus." "Are you suggesting the new content strategy division was specifically targeted?" the interviewer asked. "I can only say that this division was created very quickly, without the usual security vetting. And now sensitive company information has been compromised." "That's a lie," Bianca said, anger rising. "Our security protocols were identical to the main campus." Dominic was already on his phone, calling the network to demand equal time for a response. But the damage was done. By morning, Ultracorp's stock had dropped 7%, and the board was calling for an emergency meeting. "This is what Diana warned me about," Bianca realized. "Victor is using the break-in to undermine us." At the emergency board meeting, Victor pushed for immediate action. "We need to consolidate all operations back to the main campus," he insisted, "and conduct a full review of how this breach occurred." "The police investigation is ongoing," Dominic's countered. "We should wait for their findings before making any decisions." "We can't afford to wait," Victor argued. "Shareholders are panicking. We need to take decisive action now." The debate grew heated. Victor implied that Bianca's division had been negligent with security protocols. Dominic defended her vigorously. The other board members seemed divided. Finally, Eleanor Hale spoke up. "Perhaps there's a compromise. The content strategy division could temporarily relocate to the main campus while the investigation continues. This would address security concerns without dismantling the division entirely." It was not what Bianca wanted. The warehouse space had become the physical embodiment of what she was building, separate from the corporate politics of Ultracorp, but she recognized it as the best option available. "I support that suggestion," she said, surprising the room. "My team can relocate immediately." Victor couldn't hide his disappointment at her quick acceptance. It wasn't the victory he'd hoped for. After the meeting, Eleanor approached Bianca. "That was well handled," she said. "Victor wanted you to resist, to appear unreasonable." "I know," Bianca replied, "but this isn't about the building. It's about the work we're doing." Eleanor smiled approvingly. "You're learning, my dear." Relocation to the main campus was completed within days. Bianca's team was assigned a section of the executive floor, ironically placing her closer to Dominic professionally, even as they tried to maintain appropriate boundaries. The review committee completed its investigation and, as Dominic had predicted, found no impropriety in the creation of Bianca's division or her hiring. They noted her qualifications were appropriate for the role, and that the division's performance metrics exceeded projections. It should have been a moment of triumph, but it was overshadowed by the ongoing investigation into the security breach. The police had few leads, and the company's internal security team was still analyzing the extent of the data compromise. One afternoon, as Bianca was reviewing reports in her new office, her assistant announced a visitor. "Maria, what are you doing here?" Bianca asked, surprised but happy to see her friend. Maria closed the door behind her. "I needed to talk to you in person. It's about the break-in." Something in Maria's tone made Bianca uneasy. "What about it?" "I think I know who did it," Maria said, lowering her voice. "I was at the Capitol Bar last night. You know, where all the tech people hang out? I overheard two guys talking. They work for Tech Fusion. Tech Fusion was Ultracorp's biggest competitor. The companies had been rivals for years, constantly trying to poach each other's talent and customers. "What did they say?" Bianca asked. "They were drunk and bragging about how Tech Fusion was about to announce a new community engagement platform that would crush Ultracorp. One of them said, 'Thanks to Reynolds, we got everything we needed.'" Bianca felt the blood drain from her face. Victor gave them access to our files? That's what it sounded like, Maria confirmed. I recorded part of it on my phone. She pulled out her phone and played a brief, muffled audio clip. Though the quality was poor, Bianca could clearly hear. Reynolds said the security codes would work till midnight. Easy in, easy out. We need to take this to Dominic, Bianca said immediately. Together they went to Dominic's office. His assistant tried to stop them. He was in a meeting, but Bianca insisted it was urgent. They found Dominic with Victor and 2 board members discussing quarterly projections. The conversation froze when they entered. Bianca, we're in a meeting, Dominic said, clearly annoyed by the interruption. I'm sorry, but this can't wait. She nodded to Maria, who played the recording. Victor's face remained impassive, but a muscle twitched in his jaw. What is this? He demanded when the recording ended. Evidence that you helped Tech Fusion steal Ultracorp's data, Bianca said directly. That's absurd, Victor scoffed. A drunken conversation in a bar? That's your evidence? It's enough to warrant further investigation, Dominic said, his voice dangerously quiet. If there's any truth to this, Victor. There isn't, Victor cut him off. This is clearly a fabrication, probably created by Ms. Alvarez to divert attention from her division's security failures. I would never, Bianca began. Wouldn't you? Victor challenged. Your position here has been under threat since day one. How convenient that you suddenly discover evidence implicating me. The board members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Perhaps we should adjourn until we can verify this information, one suggested. I agree, Dominic said, and I think it would be appropriate for Victor to take a leave of absence while we investigate. Absolutely not, Victor said coldly. This is a transparent attempt to remove me from the company. If anyone should leave, it's the person who created this false evidence. The tension in the room was palpable. Bianca realized they had made a serious miscalculation. Without stronger evidence, it was their word against Victor's. We should involve the police, she suggested. Let them investigate properly. And damage Ultracorp's reputation further with public accusations? Victor shook his head. That's exactly what our competitors want. The meeting ended in an uneasy stalemate. Victor would not step down, and without conclusive evidence, Dominic couldn't force him to. As the others filed out, Dominic asked Bianca to stay behind. That wasn't handled well, he said once they were alone. You should have come to me privately first. I didn't think, she admitted. When Maria played me that recording, I just wanted you to hear it immediately. Dominic ran a hand through his hair. Victor is right about one thing. We need more than a muffled recording to accuse him of corporate espionage. So we just let him get away with it? No. We investigate quietly. If Victor really helped Tech Fusion, there will be evidence. We just need to find it. Bianca nodded, though frustration gnawed at her. I'm sorry if I made things worse. Dominic's expression softened. You were trying to protect the company, I understand. He kissed her forehead. But from now on, we work together on this. No more surprises. The following week, Tech Fusion announced a new community engagement platform that bore striking similarities to what Bianca's team had been developing. The press coverage was extensive, with many outlets noting the timing just weeks after the break-in at Ultracorp. This can't be a coincidence, Bianca told Dominic as they reviewed Tech Fusion's press release in his office. It's not, he agreed grimly. The question is how to prove it. They had been working with Ultracorp's security team to trace the breach, but progress was slow. The intruder had been careful, using techniques that suggested professional expertise. What if we could get them to admit it? Bianca suggested. Set a trap somehow. Before Dominic could respond, his assistant buzzed through. Mr. Hale, Diana. Jen is here to see you. She says it's urgent. Diana entered, looking uncharacteristically nervous. I have information about the breach, she said without preamble, and about Victor. Dominic motioned for her to sit. Go on. Victor approached me about 3 weeks ago, Diana explained. He said he had a plan to prove that the Content Strategy Division was a security risk. He wanted me to help him stage a minor security breach, nothing that would compromise actual data, just enough to raise concerns with the board. But that's not what happened, Bianca said. No, Diana agreed. After I agreed to help, he changed the plan. He said he'd found a better way to demonstrate the vulnerability. I didn't know he was working with Tech Fusion until afterward. Why are you telling us this now? Dominic asked. Diana looked uncomfortable. Because he's planning something else, something bigger. She pulled out her phone and played a recording of Victor speaking with someone, presumably a Tech Fusion executive. Once, the shareholder meeting happens next month, Hale will be out, Victor's voice said clearly. We'll announce the merger immediately after. Tech Fusion gets the patents, we get the market share, everyone wins. Except Dominic Hale, the other voice laughed. Hale made his choice when he decided that girl was more important than the company, Victor replied. He deserves what's coming. Dominic's face darkened as he listened. When was this recorded? Yesterday, Diana said. At the Metropolitan Club. Victor thinks I'm still on his side, but after what happened with the data breach... She shook her head. This has gone too far. Why should we trust you now? Bianca asked. You've been Victor's ally all along. Because I care about UltraCorp, Diana said simply. What Victor is doing will destroy the company, not save it. Dominic studied her for a long moment. What's Victor's plan for the shareholder meeting? He's gathered evidence, some real, some fabricated, to present a case that you've been making decisions based on personal relationships rather than business interests. He's going to call for a vote of no confidence. We've been through this before, Dominic reminded her. He lost. This time is different, Diana insisted. He's been working with major shareholders for months, convincing them that the Tech Fusion announcement proves his point about security risks. And he has something else, something he says will guarantee the vote goes his way. What is it? Bianca asked. He wouldn't tell me specifics, just that it involves you, and it's the final nail in Hale's coffin. After Diana left, Dominic paced. His office. We have 3 weeks until the shareholder meeting. We need to figure out what Victor's something else is. And we need proof of his involvement with Tech Fusion, Bianca added. Diana's recording is helpful, but it doesn't explicitly mention the data breach. Dominic nodded, determination hardening his features. It's time to play offense instead of defense. Victor wants a fight, we'll give him one. The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Dominic assembled a small, trusted team to investigate Victor's dealings with Tech Fusion. Bianca focused on strengthening her division, ensuring that despite the stolen information, they were still ahead of the competition with new initiatives. The key is to show the shareholders that we're still innovating, she explained during a strategy meeting. Even with the security breach, we can demonstrate that our team is creating value Tech Fusion can't match. Working closely under pressure had strengthened Bianca and Dominic's relationship. The barriers between their personal and professional lives had blurred, but in a way that felt natural and right. They were partners in every sense. One evening, as they reviewed documents in Dominic's penthouse, he suddenly put down his tablet and took her hand. When this is over, he said, I want us to take some time away. Just the two of us. Bianca smiled. That sounds perfect. Where would we go? Anywhere, everywhere. He pulled her close. I've been thinking a lot lately about what matters, and it's not the company or the money or the power. It's this, you and me, building something together. Are you getting philosophical on me? Dominic Hale, she teased, though his words touched her deeply. Maybe I am. His expression grew serious. When my parents died, I thought success would protect me from losing anything else important. But all it did was isolate me, until you walked into my life with that misdirected email. Bianca rested her head on his shoulder. Best mistake I ever made. Their moment was interrupted by Dominic's phone. It was Harold Goldstein. We found something, Harold said when Dominic answered. Financial records showing payments from a shell company linked to Tech Fusion to an offshore account. The timing matches the breach exactly. Can we trace the offshore account to Victor? Dominic asked. Not directly, but we found communications between the shell company and an email address that uses Victor's wife's maiden name. It was circumstantial but compelling. The next day, they presented the evidence to the board's audit committee, which agreed to bring in an independent forensic accountant to investigate further. Victor, of course, denied everything. This is a desperate attempt to discredit me before the shareholder meeting, he told the board. I welcome any investigation, because I have nothing to hide. But his confidence seemed forced. For the first time, Bianca sensed genuine worry behind his polished facade. With just 5 days until the shareholder meeting, Diana Chen requested another private meeting with Dominic and Bianca. Victor is getting nervous, she reported. He's been making calls to key shareholders almost hourly, pressing them to commit to voting against you. What about this something else he has on us? Bianca asked. Diana hesitated. I've been trying to find out. He keeps the information in a secure folder on his private server, but yesterday I overheard him talking about the recording with someone. What recording? Dominic pressed. I don't know. But whatever it is, he's convinced it will turn the shareholders against you completely. After Diana left, Bianca and Dominic tried to figure out what recording Victor might have. All our conversations in the office could potentially be recorded, Dominic pointed out, but I can't think of anything we've said that would be that damaging. Bianca wasn't so sure. What about our personal conversations? Could he have bugged your penthouse or my apartment? The thought was chilling. They immediately hired a security team to sweep both residences. They found nothing in Bianca's apartment, but in Dominic's penthouse, they discovered a sophisticated listening device hidden in a light fixture in the living room. It's been there for at least a month, the security expert told them. Maybe longer. Bianca felt violated. Everything we discussed, our relationship, our plans, our concerns about Victor, he heard it all. But there's still nothing that would constitute the nail in the coffin he promised, Dominic said, troubled. Unless... A memory surfaced for Bianca. Wait. Remember that night after we found out about Tech Fusion's announcement? We were talking about potential worst-case scenarios. Dominic's face paled. I said if worst came to worst, we could always take the core team and start our own company. That UltraCorp wasn't the only place we could build our vision. Exactly. Out of context, it sounds like you were planning to abandon UltraCorp, which is exactly how Victor would present it to the shareholders. Dominic paced the room. He'd make it sound like I was planning to sabotage UltraCorp for my own benefit. With the shareholder meeting just days away, they needed to act quickly. The forensic accountant was making progress tracing the offshore account, but there was no guarantee they'd have conclusive evidence in time. We need to get that recording, Bianca decided, or at least find out exactly what's on it. Victor keeps everything on his private server, Dominic reminded her. We can't access it without his credentials. An idea formed in Bianca's mind. Maybe we can. Diana said Victor trusts her. If she could get access to his office while he's away, it's too risky, Dominic argued. If Victor caught her, he'd know we were onto him. What other choice do we have? Bianca countered. We can't go into that shareholder meeting blind. After careful consideration, they approached Diana with the plan. She was reluctant but agreed to try. Victor has a lunch meeting tomorrow with the Tech Fusion CEO, she told them. It's off-site and scheduled for 2 hours. That's our window. The next day, Bianca and Dominic waited anxiously in her office while Diana attempted to access Victor's private server. The minutes ticked by painfully slowly. Finally, Diana called. I got in, she said breathlessly, and I found the recording. What's on it? Dominic asked. It's a conversation between you two, talking about starting your own company, if things at UltraCorp didn't work out. But Victor edited it. He cut out the part where you said it was just a worst-case scenario. He made it sound like you were actively planning to leave and take key personnel with you. That manipulative snake, Bianca muttered. There's more, Diana continued. He has documentation of all your meetings with shareholders over the past month. He's planning to accuse you of trying to manipulate the vote. That's ridiculous, Dominic said. I meet with shareholders all the time. He's twisting everything, Diana agreed. Wait, I hear someone coming. I have to go. The line went dead. Bianca and Dominic exchanged worried glances. Do you think she got out in time? Bianca asked. They got their answer an hour later when Diana called again. I made it out, she confirmed, but I don't think I deleted my digital tracks completely. If Victor checks his access logs, he might know someone was in his system. Did you copy the recording? Dominic asked. Yes, but it doesn't help us much. Without proof that it was edited, it still sounds damning, Dominic thought for a moment. We need to get Victor to admit what he did. If we could record him acknowledging that he edited the conversation. He's too careful for that, Bianca pointed out. Maybe not, Diana said slowly. He's been under a lot of pressure lately, and he trusts me. If I could get him talking about the recording, about how he plans to use it, it was a long shot, but it was their best option. Diana agreed to wear a recording device the next time she met with Victor. The opportunity came sooner than expected. That evening, Victor called an impromptu meeting with his closest allies, including Diana. They gathered in his private office to finalize their strategy for the shareholder meeting. The forensic accountant is getting too close, Victor told the group. We need to move up our timeline. At tomorrow's board meeting, I'm going to call for Dominic's immediate suspension pending the shareholder vote. On what grounds? Someone asked. Victor smiled coldly. Breach of fiduciary duty. I have evidence that he and his girlfriend were planning to leave Ultracorp and start a competing company. The recording? Diana asked, trying to sound casual. Exactly. It's irrefutable proof that he's been putting his personal interests ahead of the company's. But is the recording authentic? Diana pressed. I mean, if they challenge its validity, Victor's smile didn't waver. They can challenge all they want. By the time anyone could prove anything, the damage will be done. The shareholders will have lost confidence in Dominic, and we'll have control of the company. And then the Tech Fusion merger goes through, Diana confirmed. Of course, it's all arranged. Tech Fusion gets our tech. We get a controlling interest in the merged company, and Dominic Hale becomes a footnote in Ultracorp's history. Diana managed to record the entire conversation. As soon as the meeting ended, she went straight to Dominic's penthouse, where he and Bianca were waiting. We've got him, she announced, playing back the recording. He admits to planning the merger with Tech Fusion, and while he doesn't explicitly say he edited the recording of you two, it's strongly implied. Dominic listened grimly. This helps. But it's not a smoking gun for the data breach, and the board meeting is tomorrow morning. Then we need to set a trap, Bianca said. Get Victor to implicate himself more directly. They stayed up most of the night, planning their strategy. By morning, they were exhausted, but determined. The board meeting began with Victor immediately moving to suspend Dominic. He played the edited recording, which, as Diana had warned, sounded damning without context. This conversation took place in Mr. Hale's penthouse just 3 weeks ago, Victor told the board. As you can clearly hear, he and Ms. Alvarez were planning to leave Ultracorp and start a competing venture, taking key personnel with them. The board members looked troubled. Do you deny this conversation took place? Victor challenged Dominic. No, Dominic said calmly, but I do deny your characterization of it. The recording has been selectively edited to remove context. That's convenient, Victor scoffed. What's convenient, Dominic said, his voice hardening, is how this private conversation from my home found its way to you. Would you like to explain to the board how you obtained this recording, Victor? Victor hesitated momentarily. It was provided to me by a concerned employee. A concerned employee who planted an illegal listening device in my private residence? Dominic asked. That's a federal crime, Victor. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Victor's face. But that's not even the most serious crime here, is it? Dominic continued. The board should know that we've been investigating the data breach. The forensic accountant has traced payments from a shell company linked to Tech Fusion to an offshore account that uses communications channels connected to Victor. Murmurs of shock rippled through the room. These are baseless accusations, Victor said, though his confidence was clearly shaken. Are they? Bianca stood. We also have a recording of you discussing how the Tech Fusion merger has been arranged and will proceed after Dominic is removed. Would you like us to play that for the board? Victor looked at Diana, realization dawning on his face. You recorded to a private meeting. That's illegal. Actually, Diana said, New York is a one-party consent state for recordings. I was a party to the conversation, so it's perfectly legal. Dominic nodded to Diana, who played the recording. The board listened in stunned silence as Victor's own words condemned him. When it ended, Harold Goldstein was the first to speak. If these allegations are true, they constitute serious violations of corporate law and your fiduciary duty to Ultracorp, Victor. They're taking my words out of context, Victor insisted desperately, just like they claim I did to them. There's an easy way to settle this, Dominic said. The police have been investigating the data breach. With the board's permission, I'd like to involve them in examining these financial transactions and the illegal surveillance of my home. Victor paled. Corporate politics was one thing, but police involvement meant potential criminal charges. I move that we suspend Victor Reynolds pending a full investigation, Harold proposed. Second, said another board member quickly. The vote was unanimous, with Diana abstaining. As security escorted Victor from the building, he glared at Bianca. This isn't over, he hissed. You don't belong in this world. Neither do you, apparently, she replied calmly. In the aftermath, things moved quickly. The forensic accountant found conclusive evidence linking Victor to both the data breach and tech fusion. The police filed charges for corporate espionage and illegal surveillance. Several of Victor's closest allies resigned from Ultracorp, including Diana Chen, who cooperated with authorities in exchange for immunity. The shareholder meeting, when it finally happened, was anticlimactic. With Victor disgraced and the full story public, the shareholders overwhelmingly supported Dominic's continued leadership. Bianca's division continued to thrive, launching innovative community engagement platforms that left Tech Fusion scrambling to compete. The press, which had once questioned her qualifications, now praised her vision and leadership. One evening, 6 months after Victor's downfall, Dominic took Bianca to dinner at Bellini's, the small Italian restaurant where they'd had their first date. Do you remember what you were wearing that night? He asked as they settled into the same corner table. Bianca smiled. My blue thrift store dress. I was so nervous. You were beautiful. He reached across the table for her hand. I knew that night that you were going to change my life. I just didn't know how much. For better or worse, she teased. Definitely for better. His expression grew serious. These past months have been the happiest of my life, Bianca. Even with all the drama, all the fighting, because we faced it together. She squeezed his hand. I feel the same way. I was thinking about what your father said when he first met me. About making sure I deserved you. Dominic's voice was soft, intimate. I've been trying to earn that every day since. Something in his tone made Bianca's heart beat faster. Dominic reached into his pocket and placed a small velvet box on the table between them. I don't want to run Ultracorp alone anymore. And I don't want to go home to an empty penthouse ever again. Bianca's breath caught as he opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. Bianca Alvarez, will you marry me? Build a life with me. Not because I can give it to you, but because we're better together than we ever could be apart. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Dominic. He slipped the ring onto her finger, then leaned across the table to kiss her. As they walked out of the restaurant hand in hand, Bianca thought about the strange journey that had brought them here, a misdirected email that had changed both, their lives forever. What are you thinking? Dominic asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. Just that some mistakes turn out to be fate after all. He smiled, drawing her close as they stepped into the cool evening air. Not a mistake, a miracle. 1 year later, the gardens of the Hale estate were transformed with hundreds of white flowers, creating a path to an elegant white arch. Guests filled the rows of chairs, murmuring excitedly as they waited for the ceremony to begin. In a room, inside the house, Bianca stood before a mirror, her father beside her. You look beautiful, Mija, Robert said, his eyes misty. Bianca smoothed the simple, elegant white dress. Are you ready to walk me down the aisle? I've been ready since the day you were born. He offered his arm. Though I never imagined it would. Be to a billionaire, she laughed. He's just Dominic to me, Dad. Not a billionaire, not a CEO, just the man I love. I know. Robert's expression softened. He's proven himself worthy of you. That's all a father can ask for. The music began, signaling it was time. As Bianca took her father's arm, she felt a profound sense of peace. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been doubt, fear, and opposition. But through it all, she and Dominic had built something real, something lasting. Outside, Dominic waited under the arch, his eyes finding hers as she appeared at the end of the flower-lined path. The love in his gaze was unmistakable. With her father by her side, Bianca began the walk toward her future, a future no longer defined by being overlooked or underestimated, but by being truly seen, valued, and loved. As she reached Dominic and placed her hand in his, he whispered, "Ready to build something amazing together?" Bianca smiled. "I already am." The end.